Let us take a look what's going around the news outlets.
Today, President Trump offered a grim warning for Iran's supreme leader, writing on social media he knows where the supreme Ayatollah is hiding, and, quote, we are not going to take him out, at least not for now, calling him an easy target. In a separate post, adding, we now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. Trump is demanding Iran's unconditional surrender, adamant he wants a lasting nuclear deal, making clear he's not interested in only a ceasefire between Israel and Iran.
And then a real end, not a ceasefire. And then
we want an end, a real end.
Or
give us that.
Giving up entirely.
Or else we'll send an
back and
end
forth of airstrikes between the two Middle Eastern countries now in its fifth night.
We'll
Video
send
shows
the
missiles
end bomb.
raining down over Israel, some getting through the country's Iron Dome defense system, killing at least 24 people so far, according to Israeli officials, and wiping out buildings, including several on this university campus. In Tehran, more than 200 civilians have been killed in the strikes that started with Friday's surprise attack on Iran's nuclear facilities. Last night,
honestly, the thing that they
Friday's
just hit right here, this looks like a fucking launcher, honestly. I don't know, because it's either a building or a fucking launcher.
nuclear facilities. Last night on social media, Trump urged everyone should immediately evacuate
But
Tehran.
yeah, it's so hard to tell
Highways
because it's all
leaving Iran's capital city,
pixelated
population 10 million, were gridlocked
and
with traffic.
it's all black and
I want
white.
people to be safe. And that's always possible.
It's like they have night vision or...
I just want people to be safe.
And with concern for U.S. troops in the
Or some
region,
shit.
Trump with
So,
another warning for Iran.
infrared.
Come down so hard if they do anything to our people.
After campaigning on a promise to keep America out of foreign wars, some Trump loyalists are wavering. Vice President Vance backed the president today on social media, writing, Trump is only interested in using the American military to protect the American people's goals. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Washington. Have it.
Tonight, the aftershocks of a horrific political assassination in Minnesota, rippling on Capitol Hill, as lawmakers now push to beef up their own security, worried they might be next.
And all of us are worried because none of us have any control. And we're not just worried about ourselves, we're really worried about our families.
Amid a tense budget battle
I think it's
already
really
underway,
sinking in now. No one has absolute control over anything.
over President Trump's big
You have
beautiful
no
bill,
absolute control
members
over
of
someone
Congress now
trying to
renewing
fucking
calls
come
for
after
more
you
money
and
to
fucking
flow to
get you.
Capitol Police, charged with protecting them.
There was agreement in our meeting between Democrats and
They can
Republicans that we ought
Oh, also Chuck Schumer has been also an advocate of doing fucked up shit to people too.
to have that increased funding.
Right now, only congressional leadership have 24-hour security
Keep
details provided
rioting,
by Capitol
basically.
Police. And although other members can request protection on a case-by-case basis, outside the Capitol complex, hundreds of rank-and-file lawmakers often go completely unprotected.
I have more security than most. I have a security detail.
Correct.
One's with me right now.
Yeah, Urban has a lot of security.
Most of my colleagues don't have that.
Yeah, correct.
Before we expand coverage for me,
There's even
others would
some
be helped.
senators who have resorted to becoming their own security by having their own firearm. Right. There's some senators who are who were service members and are serving on the Senate, and they themselves are firearms carriers. They're concealed carry holders, right?
The fears seeping into state
that's very
legislatures
few.
as well.
It's painful that we now have to think about paying that ultimate price for being a public servant who tries to do the right thing and engage with the people.
Without access to the
Correct.
resources
They're
of the
always,
federal
in a sense,
government,
a target
funding
for-
their own security
be
is an even
headhunted.
tougher task.
In a sense.
You're looking at about $200 an hour, and that doesn't include equipment, and that's for a single person.
Some states now exploring other ways to protect their public servants. Vermont's State House ramping up security and implementing a single point of entry. And in Florida, lawmakers passing a bill that would shield their home addresses from public release. The assassinations in Minnesota coming as political violence appears to be gaining momentum in American life.
I
Two
mean, when you
attempts
had
on
like
President Trump's life last
Luigi,
year,
and then
a
the
hammer
assassination
attack on
attempts
former
on
Speaker
Trump,
Nancy
yeah, and then
Pelosi's
the
husband
Pelosi
in
stuff.
2022, and an arson attack at the home of Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro this April.
Yeah, that
a
one.
decade or so ago, it was about 10% of Americans said that violence was either expected or something that was legitimate means of expressing political beliefs. The last time I polled it, it was over 30%.
All right, NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Melanie Zanona joins us now. Melanie, I want to get back to the assassination in Minnesota this weekend. We spoke last night here on Top Story with Minnesota Senator Tina Smith about her confrontation with Utah Senator Mike Lee after he posted a photo of the suspect on his X account along with a caption. We're learning more about that post tonight. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, Tom, that post has actually been taken down as of earlier today, along with several other really insensitive social media posts about those Minnesota shootings that the senator posted on his personal account on X. This comes after a number of Democrats called on Senator Lee to not only take those posts down, but also to publicly apologize. And chief among them, of course, as you mentioned, was Tina Smith of Minnesota. She had a private conversation one-on-one with Senator Lee, where she explained why those posts were so hurtful and also implored him to take the posts down. Now, we have not heard from Senator Lee publicly about why he took the post downs, and he's still not publicly apologized either, Tom.
All right, Melanie Zanona with a lot of new reporting there. Melanie, we thank you. We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.
Well, as Israel and Iran continue to exchange strikes and the Trump administration weighs its options, there's one resource drawing some attention. It's called the B-2 Spirit bomber. It can carry a so-called bunker buster bomb capable of penetrating 200 feet inside a target. The B-2s are primarily located
they do not
at
only
Whiteman
just carry
Air
that
Force
thing,
Base
but they
in
can
Missouri. And that's where we find CBS
load
News
themselves
correspondent
with other
Ian Lee.
shit too.
Ian, tell us a little bit more about this very impressive instrument, the B-2 bomber.
This thing is a monster.
Hi, Elizabeth. Yeah, if that bomber were to take off, it would fly pretty much directly over me. We've been out here waiting, seeing if it's going to take off, but this is a very special plane. It is a stealth bomber, and as you pointed out, it can carry a bunker buster bomb. This is the GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrator. This is a 30,000-pound guided bomb that this plane can deliver anywhere in the world from this plane taking off from right behind me. And this is significant because it would be then targeting, if it were to go to Iran, the Fordo nuclear power plant. This is a power plant that's buried underneath a mountain, and so this is really one of the only bombs that could even try to get down that far. The bomb can penetrate about 200 feet deep, and so this is why this bomb is very significant, and that's why we're watching this base closely to see if any of those planes are taking off. Now, if a plane does take off, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to Iran, but it does show that it could have that potential to go that far. And to kind of give you an idea, this plane could take off, travel all the way to Iran, all the way back without touching the ground.
Yeah, and
of course,
the fact that
but just shows
Trump was like, yeah, we have full control of Iran's airspace.
And the use of the B-2 would be a significant step for U.S. involvement. What factors come into consideration, Ian, as the U.S. weighs its options here?
There's so much at play going on if the U.S. were to use something like this. First off, the United States has bases throughout the Middle East. So far, Iran hasn't directly targeted those bases. If the United States strikes Iran, those bases could then be targeted, putting U.S. personnel at risk. And so that is one big consideration. Also, striking this power plant, could it destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities? Possibly. But also, would Iran then dig deeper or try to develop a nuclear bomb in another way? So these are all considerations. Also, you have to consider these planes too. These planes taking off, what are their routes going to be? If there's an emergency, can they be diverted anywhere? How are they going to be refueled? So there's so many things to consider just even before carrying out an operation. And then the United States has to consider the ramifications of bombing Iran.
Oh.
Doing pretty well. Right now, we're doing pretty well. Remember, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. You don't have to go too deep into it. They just can't have a nuclear weapon. didn't say I was looking for a ceasefire. That was Emmanuel, nice guy. But he doesn't get it right too often. But we're looking for better
French
than a ceasefire.
face.
And then a real end, not a ceasefire. And then
So something that would be permanent.
yeah, or giving up entirely. That's okay too.
Are you close there? Is that possible in the next 24
Why not? Certainly possible. Complete give up. That's possible, yeah.
Complete possibility.
Was Israel and Iran
Brad Lender released after shocking detainment. Oh yeah, we already saw this. Does he do his little press speech here? Oh, okay.
Recognizes
Oh,
Mr. Jordan
shit.
from Ohio.
Yeah, well, it's fucking so stupid. He gets resting, does that little... Okay, hold on. We'll watch this fucking dumbass, see what he says. What a fucking retard.
We're gonna walk through here.
I'm New York City Controller Brad Lander, and I'm happy to report I am just fine. I lost a button. But, you know...
You literally seemed like you
I'm
stormed
gonna
in
sleep
there.
in my bed tonight,
Just like,
safe with my family.
Padilla.
I'm grateful to hear that the charges are not
you
being
guys are
brought,
sacks
but
of
if they
shit.
are, I've got a lawyer. I don't have to worry about my due process rights. At that elevator, I was
Yeah, they're trying to
separated
spark
from someone
some
named
fucking,
Edgardo,
I guess, news
who I
from-
had just met a couple of minutes earlier. Edgardo is in ICE detention, and he's not going to
They're
sleep in
trying to do
his
their
bed
political
tonight.
game
So far as
show,
I know,
right?
he has no lawyer. He has been stripped of his due process rights by a government and a judge that owe him a credible fear hearing before they deport him, and yet have decided instead to strip folks like Edgardo and the prior gentleman that I walked out with, whose native language is Yoruba, and who only got a translator in French. And so when the judge said, do you understand what it means that after I dismiss your case, you'll have no status? He said, no status, as he recognized what was about to happen. So I will be fine, but Edgardo is not going to be fine. And the rule of law is not fine. And our constitutional democracy is not fine.
What,
This is
he's just
the
gonna get
third week in a
deported.
row that I've come down here.
Oh,
with
he's not
immigrant
a citizen. He's got no papers. Oh,
to
that's
accompany
bad.
families out of this building. And before today, I had walked 4 families out, all of whom were afraid that they were going to be detained by ICE agents, and yet who were able to walk out of the building, even though they had had their cases dismissed and are subject to expedited removal, but were nonetheless able to get out of that building and at least get back to their kids, get back to their families, try to figure out what's next. Today, Meg, I really want to say a big thank you to my wife, Meg, who was here with me doing it.
Oh, yeah, the wife who's...
Meg and I
hoping,
were
yes.
able to walk out a family of 4 beautiful, what, did you get their names? No, so 4, like
okay,
a mom.
I don't want to watch all of it. This is bad. This is all for political show. I mean, I don't trust this fucking fuckhead. Just like Kathy Hochul. All these guys are fucking shit.
Last night, waves of more than 400 Russian drones and missiles tore through Kyiv, killing more than a dozen people, including a U.S. citizen. Ukraine's president called it one of the most terrifying strikes on the capital, with explosions hitting nearly 30 locations across the city, ripping through schools and homes. On the sidelines of the G7 summit in Canada, Ukrainians urged world leaders to take decisive action to end the war. President Trump was set to meet with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Tuesday, but was forced to leave early due to escalating tensions in the Middle East.
I mean, look. Until a deal is done, there's just more blood. Well, then again, Putin didn't come when he went.
Turning to the crisis in the Middle East, today U.S. security personnel briefed President Trump on the latest with the fighting between Israel and Iran.
Yeah, man,
This comes as some are concerned about
Ukraine
Americans becoming targets
fighting.
of Iranian attacks. Torian Small has more details
And then they want to
from the White
fucking,
House.
oh, let's do a deal now. It's like, oh,
President
what?
Trump met with his national security team at the White House to consider joining Israel's strike on Iranian nuclear sites.
Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple.
The U.S. military has not been part of the strikes over the last 5 days, but Israel was using American-made equipment for its military operation. President Trump posted on social media, quote, "We now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran." The satellite images show direct hits on Iran's uranium enrichment program in Natanz. President Trump says the U.S. knows where Iran's supreme leader is hiding, but said America will not yet take him out. Trump added that his patience is wearing thin. Some on Capitol Hill say they're concerned American forces could be drawn into the conflict.
The president has shown restraint in the past. The president's instincts are good, and I'm hoping the president will not get involved with the war. I think if the United States actively bombs Tehran, the possibility of negotiation goes out the window.
Trump says he just wants people to be safe, and he posted a warning for people in Tehran to get out of the city. Thousands have been doing exactly that for days now. Torian Small, 2 News, Nevada.
Republican Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie filed a war powers resolution today, which, if passed, would bar U.S. forces from participating in the fighting between Israeli and Iranian forces.
Let's look at the California bill.
Lawmakers taking aim at what they call secret police tactics with a new bill
yes,
preventing
secret police
transparency and
tactics.
accountability in law enforcement. 2 Democratic state senators announced a state bill known as the No Secret Police Act. It would prohibit local, state, and federal law enforcement from covering their faces during operations
Yeah, I don't know why
California.
California. It's
Officers
weird why
who do
California's
not
doing
comply
it.
with the
Because
law
it
would
puts-
face
it
misdemeanor
puts
charges. The bill
agents at
also
risk.
requires identifying information to be displayed on
Because some of
officers'
these guys they capture are fucking gang leaders.
People are afraid.
Have gang
Families are being torn
affiliation,
apart.
gang leaders,
And it's
then
important that
if
people
they
that are
can
engaged
ID their
in
face.
any sort of law enforcement activity, whether it's
Yeah.
state, whether it's county, or whether it's federal, that there's full
You know what
transparency
the
in terms of
you
what's
know
happening.
cop killers, you know that stuff.
Authorities
Yeah,
say
there's
law
been
enforcement
there's
officials
been
may
an
cover their
uptick of
faces in
people trying to
undercover
fucking
operations to
get
protect
police
themselves
officers
and to
shit
avoid
like that, man.
online doxing. When someone's
Oh,
private
good.
information is published online, the lawmakers say identifying information also keeps criminals from impersonating officers. The bill is
Correct.
expected to be debated in the coming weeks.
It'll be debated. I mean, California likes to play this fucking weird game. They're a bunch of commies, literally. California is commie state, with all these rules and regulations. For the environment, for the good of the kids.
There was a state representative, Democratic leader of the state legislature in Minnesota killed over the weekend, a state senator shot. How would you describe the current political atmosphere in this country this morning?
I feel like Trump has really popped the lid off the rhetoric and the sense of hate and violence and promoted this type of an environment. It's profoundly disturbing for all of us. We have seen increased threats across the country. You're probably familiar with the pizza threats. We've seen more of that where pizzas or other food is delivered to people's families that they haven't ordered. Just to say from the right wing, we know who you are, we know where you live. I can tell you all of our families feel a greatly heightened sense. And just let me just...
That's because you guys do that shit. You guys have leaked people's information
say,
too.
my heart goes
Everyone
out to the
you
families
guys both
in
leak
Minnesota.
people's information.
How horrific for the whole country, but particularly we're holding the folks in
Also,
Minnesota
it was
in our
one of your
hearts.
colleagunt who decided
I feel
to
like
fucking
Trump
go
has
on a
really,
manhunt on
popped
you
the
guys,
lid off
literally.
the rhetoric and the sense of hate and violence and promoted this type of an environment.
I just want to get this off my chest.
That shit was not my fault. Y'all are trash.
Y'all are trash.
And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Y'all are trash.
Yep. Yep. Oh yeah, here's another. Yeah, they got arrested.
Do you have a judicial warrant? Do you have a judicial warrant? Can I see this?
So it's just it's like pushing through and shit. Like trying to drag him out. He basically tried to force his way like the Alex Padilla and into the immigration court and be like trying to stop everything.
You don't have authority to arrest U.S. citizens. Sir, you don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens. Say that. You don't have the, I'm not obstructing. I'm standing right here in the hallway. I asked
You were obstructing.
for a judicial warrant.
I wasn't obstructing. You're not supposed to arrest him.
Stay back. No, ma'am, for your own safety. For your own safety.
Gotcha.
Where are you taking him?
Where are you taking? He's going into the basement.
You have no authority to arrest U.S. citizens.
He's going into the basement with all you dumbass.
What authority?
Why are you arresting
And with what authority?
Jail! Go to prison! Go to prison!
Hang on, quiz number one. Hold on.
See ya.
Tonight, News Channel 5 investigates, uncovers disturbing new information about the man arrested Saturday at Nashville's No Kings protest. Good evening, I'm Jennifer Krause. It turns out that man there to protest the protest has a long fascination with Nazis and mass murders. And now we've learned that he was already on the FBI's radar. Our chief investigative reporter, Phil Williams, has spent hours digging through this man's online profile. And Phil, this doesn't sound like an ordinary counter-protester.
Yeah, far from it. I was on the ground Saturday, and protesters kept telling me about this man dressed all in black with a "Don't Tread on Me" flag and a gun on his hip. If they had known what I've since discovered, they might have been even more concerned. Saturday's No Kings protest in downtown Nashville was a peaceful event, drawing thousands and thousands of people upset with the direction of the country. The only hiccup, the arrest of a 19-year-old Murfreesboro man for disorderly conduct after a confrontation with protesters. The arrest warrant says Elijah Miller brandished a weapon during that confrontation.
Uh-oh, we got another one. Got a crazy. Going to an event and brandishing weapons like a fucking madman. Nice.
To a witness, no one was directly pointed at, but he was spitting at people. People started yelling at him, and he pulled it out and stated he had a gun. For much of that time, Miller was live streaming.
No, I mean, the fact that he was already... Also, look at his gloves. Right, the fact that he was already doing... No, this guy's a fucking instigator, dude. He's an agitator. Like, what the fuck? Why are you doing that?
Declaring on X that he was going to be, quote, counter-protesting these...
Oh my god, are you fucking kidding me? What is this? He's one of these guys? Oh, Jesus. Oh, no. Oh, fucking... Why is it always the fucking... The characters, dude. Why is it always anime characters? Dude, what is up with people and using fucking the anime characters on their profile pictures? Jesus fuck.
Commies.
Commie scum!
And he goes around calling people commies.
Soon he was in a sharp exchange with a No Kings protester who challenged him to show his face.
You are such a coward. Such a coward. Your mask off, you little man.
No, I'm not.
Little dictator.
No, I'm not.
Little dictator.
You're so scary.
Is he
So
going?
who is Elijah Miller? In 2023, a post from Murfreesboro police showed he had been reported missing by his family. At the time, he was described as autistic but highly functioning. A photo shared by a friend shows the moment he was taken into custody in Ohio, charged with possessing a weapon while under disability.
Yeah, how did he get a weapon under disability? What the fuck? Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, you're not. Yeah, if you have a disability, you're not supposed to have a weapon. They don't allow you.
Oh, yeah.
Yet there he was among the No Kings protesters with a
Well, I mean, it
semi-automatic
depends on what
pistol
kind of
strapped to his
disability.
hip.
Like, if
On
it's a
his
mental
cap, he wore
disability,
a
yeah,
dark
they won't allow
enlightenment
you to have
patch
one.
linked to a theory that calls for ending democracy.
If it's
His
just some,
social
like,
media
oh,
shows
you're
a
limping a little
fascination
bit,
with Nazi
you're probably
imagery
fine.
as well as mass murderers. For example, a horrific mass murder in Norway that left 77 people dead, including children at a youth camp. Miller expressed
yeah, I heard about
admiration
that
for the
one.
neo-Nazi who carried out the killings, calling the victims 77 race traitors.
A white supremacist
Holy
engaged
shit.
in an act of terrorism.
This guy's
He
insane.
also expressed admiration for the killer behind a mass shooting at a grocery store in Buffalo, New York.
Oh, yeah,
Another
that
person
one.
said he, quote, was just trying to help the blacks get their numbers up and help them get a
What
food
the
desert,
fuck, dude?
which made the killer a hero. Miller
Dude,
responded,
people on Twitter
indeed.
are fucking insane.
And he was especially fond of the person who murdered
What the
51
fuck?
Muslims at Christchurch, New Zealand, seeming to imitate the shooter's style when he posted his, quote, scribbles on a new shotgun. Among them, this
Oh,
inscription,
no.
"This machine
I
kills
just
commies."
saw a name
Someone
on there
responded,
that-
"Drop your Twitch," meaning a live stream video.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I see a name on there that's... Oh, shit. That doesn't look good. Well, I mean, it has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with this person. It's just this person, for some reason, decided to do something real fucking... Oh, boy.
Drop your Twitch.
Also, yeah, you don't want... Don't be doing that. Oh, jeez.
Meaning a live stream video
Oh,
we
fuck
will
it.
be watching. Miller answered, "Need to get a helmet and
I'd,
GoPro first."
I would say something, but I already give
Among
enough
his other posts,
flack
Miller
on,
declared last July,
VTubers and
"No
shit,
more
and
running from me, Reapers calling my name."
Probably
In
don't wanna
December, he
dig my
posted,
grave.
"Things are about to happen." The photo included a handgun and the book, "Democracy, the God That
no.
Failed." And images posted by Miller
Oh,
himself showed that Murfreesboro
shit.
police had visited his home in
It even
April
showed-
after
it
someone in
even-
Turkey
he even
alerted
showed a video. Jesus Christ. Oh boy.
the God That Failed.
I'm so
and images
sorry,
posted by
Pippa.
Miller himself showed that Murfreesboro police
Oh, fuck.
visited his home in
That's
April
bad.
after someone in Turkey alerted them about Miller's online activity. One photo shows officers inspecting a weapon in his bedroom, but he would later post an image of a gun with a right-wing manifesto saying the attention of him being busted had made him popular.
Man, I'm not gonna be
What?
violent. I'm
What
like
do you
your
mean?
people.
It's because you're
I'm not gonna be
fucking
violent
going
like
on
your people,
social
man.
media
While
and
Miller
doing a
told
bunch
other
of weird
protesters
shit.
he had no plans to be violent, his online history suggests
And then
he's
you
given
go out to
people
a
plenty of
protest and do
reason
more
to be
weird shit. And it's
concerned.
like, yeah, dude, you're looking for a fight.
Now, over the
Literally.
weekend, I reached out to Mr. Miller through his X
Right,
account, and he
he's
declined
literally
to comment.
there to
but
cause
tonight, Metro
trouble.
Police tell me that they have had two interactions with
agitator.
him.
He wants
On
to.
April
He
2nd, he
right, he didn't
reported
brandish
two
it, but
firearms had
he
been
has no
stolen.
legal
It
right.
turns out his mother
right,
had
using all
simply
that
hidden
stuff.
them. The next
So it's
day,
like,
officers were
well, how
back
did
at
you
the
get all
house
that?
after getting a report from the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force about his online activities. That time, his mother let them take a shotgun and a handgun along with ammunition. Those are still in police custody.
But no arrest from that incident.
That's right. Murfreesboro police say they don't have any actual threats, but the investigation is continuing.
But some of those posts are chilling.
Absolutely.
All right, Phil, I know you'll stay on top of this. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. Rip VTubers. Dude, VTubers get targeted every fucking time for some reason. Maybe I should lay off VTubers for a little bit. They seem to be getting a lot of flack right now. Jesus. Holy shit. Oh man. Oh man, oh man. Here's another angle. Forget this. We're not gonna watch it again. Iran will have to drink from the poison chalice. Hoffman.
But I do think over time, we have the capability to render that particular site ineffective. It's obviously underneath a mountain, and I think the engineers are contributing to how you do that, but it likely has to collapse down on itself. So I think it's achievable, but it's a formidable target.
That's General Jack Keane with us last hour talking about the challenge posed by Iran's Fordow nuclear plant, which so far has not been touched in this war, we believe, based on the reporting there. It's believed to be located about 300 feet beneath a mountain. It could potentially be taken out by an American bomb known as a bunker buster. Meanwhile, at the White House, we expect the president to meet with his national security team at any time now. He came back from the G7 in Canada a day early for that meeting in person. Dan Hoffman's with me now. And Dan, good morning to you. Take us through the thought process before you start blowing up mountains in Iran. Take us through the thought process on behalf of the Israelis/United States on this first, and then we'll get to the Iranian question.
Yeah, Bill, I can tell you from my decades-long career at CIA, we don't do policy at the CIA. We recruit spies and steal secrets, but I was a backbencher many times during policy deliberations of this sort. And what I expect the president will be hearing from his advisors are, what are the options to get to the end state that we want? And remember why the Trump administration withdrew from the JCPOA in the first Trump administration. It was because of the nuclear program, the sunset clauses, because JCPOA did not deal with Iran's ballistic missile program, as well as Iran's proxy terrorist network. And so right now we've got a better opportunity than we've ever had before to deal with those three challenges for our national security.
Israel,
it doesn't mean we have to blow up Fordow, but it does mean that Iran is going to have to, in the words of their supreme leader, drink from the poison chalice and agree to a serious round of negotiations where we get to the end state that we want. Intelligence collection is going to be key on Iran's plans and intentions, their military, their intelligence, and their clerics. I imagine that we're on a full court press to provide the president with what he needs.
Well, let's talk about the Iranian side here on the ballistic missiles. It's essentially because they have no air power to take down, to control the skies. Ballistic missiles are about the only thing they have to threaten Iran today. Benjamin Netanyahu said the other day, if you do not halt their missile program, they could build 3,600 a year. Well, we believe when the war started 5 days ago that they had 3,000. I thought of those 3,000, about 1,000 had the ability to travel the 1,500 kilometers or 900 miles from Tehran to Tel Aviv. And if the Iranians have already fired 400 of those missiles, they have a calculation.
Yeah, I don't know how many launchers
because
they're
that
using.
country right now
it seems
is
to
cornered and will be even more
they sometimes
so
like
very
shoot
soon.
12 missiles or some shit.
Yeah, and as you noted, Israel owns the
Sometimes
skies.
shoot
Remember,
more.
a year
I
ago,
don't know
April, Israel
exactly how
destroyed
many
Iran's air defenses.
launchers
Israel's
they
got covert operatives
Oh, yeah,
on the
they might have
ground.
been
They've
also
been
fucking
lethally
stood
targeting
bombing
Iran's
them, too. I
military,
forgot
senior
about that.
military leaders and their nuclear scientists. Israel owns the battle space. And Iran's regime security right now is more tenuous than it's ever been since going back to its war against Iraq in the 1980s. And so the question is whether we are going to strike a deal now, as President Trump would like to do now. Maybe Iran won't want to make a deal. And maybe they'll rush for a nuclear weapon now, in which case we may not have any other choice than to pursue a military option. But I would expect this president to pursue every and all available means to negotiate a way out of this, if indeed there is an opportunity to do so.
All right, there was a report, I don't know if it's the case, but there was a report that the Iranian leadership, those who are still in power and alive, said don't communicate by our regular communications anymore. The suggestion there I took away is that the Iranians have infiltrated that entire country. And just the thought on what they've been able to execute here, literally, when you've got a brand new leader of the army get taken out within a matter of days after he was elevated to that job.
Oh man, they took him out immediately.
Listen, the key
they put him
thing
in that
wartime
position.
is to find, fix, and
they were
finish
just
your
like,
targets,
don't
and that
Don't put
depends
him
on
in
intelligence.
another.
Israel's got Iran
Don't put
wired,
another
and
person
they're
in
able to
that
collect
position.
on
Don't
everyone's
do it.
location, just like they did with Hezbollah and the pager operation, Bill. And that gives Israel a significant upper hand, as we've seen in this war.
Dan, nice to see you. Thanks. We'll talk again very soon. Dan Hoffman with his
too.
analysis. Thank you very much.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
Please reconsider that position if you get placed or if you try and take that job, because you will be shot at or some shit like that. Oh, fuck. You got cleaned out. Let's watch this. Because it deals with this fucking idiot. Fucking Alex Padilla being a retard.
Over the last 2 weeks in Los Angeles, my hometown, that we've seen masked federal agents in tactical gear ordered into our communities. We've seen a disturbing pattern of increasingly extreme and cruel immigration enforcement operations targeting non-violent people at places of worship, at schools, in courthouses.
What?
All to meet an arbitrary
You guys are
quota.
breaking in and then
Now we're
trying
seeing
to
President Trump federalize National Guard troops
extort
and
your
deploy
fucking
them
power, right?
without
Exert your
the
power,
governor's
extort
consent.
people, right? You fucking assholes.
Active duty
Fuck
Marines now being deployed, escalating tensions
you.
in our
Be
city.
manipulative
Now,
shitheads.
throughout this
Fuck out of
country's
here.
history, we've
Break
had
the
conflict,
rules, you're getting
we've
detained,
had
just
tumult,
like everyone
but
fucking
we've never
else.
had a tyrant as a commander-in-chief.
Or, well, arrested and then
And that is
fucking
not by
kick the fuck to the curb.
It's because the American people have always been willing to speak up and exercise their First Amendment right
Yeah, I
to
will
protest.
exercise my First Amendment right to tell you to shut the
And
fuck
at one
up.
point, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security said that the purpose of federal law enforcement and the purpose of the United States military
Yeah, this is
was to,
insane.
quote,
I don't know
liberate
in
Los
what
Angeles
world it's okay
our
to
governor and our mayor,
belittle your own
to somehow liberate
security
us from the very
workforce,
people
right?
that we
Your own
democratically
right
elected
population
to lead
that's
our
supposed to
city
keep the
and our
peace
state.
of your own goddamn country,
Colleagues,
and you're
let that
fucking
fundamentally
you're doing this kind of shit.
un-American mission
God
statement
damn.
sink in.
Don't get me wrong, there's some bad
was
apples
forced
sometimes, but
to
holy
the
fuck,
ground.
I'm pretty sure most of them aren't like that.
First on my knees, and then flat on my chest. And as I was handcuffed and marched down a hallway, repeatedly asking, why am I being detained? Not once did they tell me why.
Is he gonna cry now?
I pray you never
Cry,
have a moment like
bitch.
this.
Let's see the waterworks.
But I will tell you,
Cry.
in that moment,
Cry, please.
a lot
cry.
of questions
Let's see it.
came to my mind.
Please cry.
And what will a city already on edge
Please
from
cry.
being militarized think when they see their United States senator
Hey.
being handcuffed?
Hey, just so you know, if there was ever a draft or a conscription, my ass would be conscripted, and then I would come find you and then fuck you over, by the way. So just so we're all clear, right?
for trying to ask a question. And what will my wife think? What will our boys think? And how many Americans in the year 2025 see a vindictive president on a tour of retribution.
I don't see a vindictive president. I see a president who's doing what he's supposed to do.
By the majority
Unlike
of
fucking
separate
Sleepy
and
Joe
co-equal
Biden,
branch of government.
Mr.
And
Cancer
wonder if
Sleepy
it's worth it
Joe.
to stand up or to speak out. If the United States
It was an
senator
actual
becomes
cancer
too
to
afraid
fucking the
speak
United
up,
States.
how can we expect any other American to do the
Or
same?
to be a fucking asshole. Hey, Padilla, noose yourself. Go find a cliff and then jump off. God damn, I'm sorry. I don't trust these guys. I just don't trust these people. What do we got here? Where's the shirt to court? What do you got?
Good morning, sir.
World's best.
What made you think that was
Harder. I mean, father.
That's all you could find? That's all the only shirt you had in your closet? World's best farter. That's great. No, it says, I can read it. I see what it says at the bottom.
So basically, in court, they usually want you to wear not a shirt that, basically, a shirt that has no branding or anything on it. Because anything you say or do will be used in the against you in the court of law, basically. So if they see you with a shirt that doesn't put you in a good light because you did a kind of a fucked up thing, well, they're gonna fucking rake you over the coals.
You're in felony court. You need to dress appropriately.
There it is, felony court. Yeah, they're a lot more stricter, especially when you got a felony. Yeah, they're gonna be like, "Fuck are you doing?"
Court, and that's not appropriate. Did you get someone hired? I can't hear you. Okay. So why didn't you call some others if they didn't call you back?
Oh, he has no
None of them-
representation
I don't believe that for a second. So you called 2 that didn't answer their phone, 1 that didn't call you back, and you didn't think to keep calling and talk to at least 3. You didn't try if you only did that. This isn't that hard. The point isn't to play a game and act like you call and write 3 names down. The point is to actually hire someone. And you can't actually hire someone unless you really try. I'm going to reset your case for 30 days. You need to get someone hired, or you need to actually talk to 3 lawyers. And if you have to call 20 to get that done, then call 20. Start this week. Don't wait till the week before court, because they are in court. These are just normal common sense things, right? All right, step in front of the clerk. If you don't do that, the next time your bond will be revoked and you'll go back to jail.
Do you have any children?
Oh no!
What are their ages?
No, not the
4,
bad black
3, 2,
excellence.
1,
6 months.
Oh shit!
And where are they? Who are they with?
Uh-oh.
How many mothers?
3.
All right, that is not black excellence.
Yeah, judges don't fuck around. Yeah, especially when it comes to certain cases. They will rake you over the fucking coals, dude. They will give you the
fact that
fucking
you're here is
piercing
not black
sharp gaze
excellence.
until you give them a
Unless that's the name of a
satisfactory
building.
answer.
But I'm assuming it's not.
If not,
So
they're
you are
just
not
gonna
showing
keep
black
raking
excellence to
you
your
over the fucking
ancestors
coals.
or to your mother, your grandmother, or anyone. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So don't wear black excellence if you're not showing it.
Yes, ma'am.
That's trespassing. I could technically leave.
Oh
and you guys
yeah,
can issue a warrant as long as I
Cedric
don't
Simpson.
return. Just
Yeah.
kiss my ass.
Yeah,
This is
basically,
you know what?
these are
No,
these are the judges that don't
I'm gonna
fuck
tell
around.
you what. You don't come in here. You don't.
Fuck you.
Okay, that's contempt. That's 93. Keep going. Fuck you. That's another.
Fuck you.
That's another 93. That's another 93. That's another 93. That's 6 93s consecutive. Mr. Jenkins does not want to. He does not want to unmute. He does.
I had a lot to write down on that.
I just seen how you doing, Your Honor? How you doing, sir?
Oh Jesus. Yeah, that's what happens sometimes.
How you doing? How you doing?
All right, I'm good, sir. How are you?
Judge, you is so gorgeous, Miss Judge.
Oh no! Oh no!
I just have to tell you, you're
No,
gorgeous.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. All right, Mr. Lewis. Flattery will get you everywhere, but maybe not here.
Jesus. Oh fucking yeah. Oh yeah, don't do that. It's not gonna look good for you. Especially when that judge is hearing over your case. Oh boy. Anyways, let's continue. Wait, what was this one? Are the kings in the room with us now? Oh. Want to go to the No Kings protest? Oh, the fucking dentage, dude. Yup. We live on stolen land. Borders are just imaginary lines. Oh my god. That's a good one. Democrats, no kings. We follow democracy. Also, Democrats appointed Kamala with no primary. Correct. Woke up this morning, still no kings. You did it, Libs.
My husband and my son, my 7-year-old son, just walked out the door to go to a No Kings protest.
Wait, what?
And as they were walking out the door, I said, "Thank you for being so brave and going."
I'm sorry. Please don't tell me you just allowed your... does this person actually have... I hope not. Jesus fuck.
Because at this point, if you're willing to be okay with everything that's going on right now, you're the problem. You're the problem. You're a terrible person.
But he didn't win, and I think at
Dude,
this
why
point
is
we can all
it-
just come clean about that. He didn't win. He didn't win. She won.
Why is it all Karens?
He
dude?
never won. He lost. Big. Not only did he lose, he lost big. There are a lot of people that don't like him.
And which Republican candidate has the best chance of winning the general election?
Of the declared ones, right now, Donald Trump.
My beautiful city, LA, and I have friends texting me like all morning. My gardener didn't show up, my housekeeper didn't show up, oh, my farmer's
Were you employing a bunch of illegals?
market was closed. Everyone's scared.
Who is going
Oh,
to be cleaning your
okay.
toilets, Donald Trump?
Yeah.
Oh, that's in the sense that you know what I mean. Like when I'm saying that.
I mean, it's not very hard to get into the system to, you know, get your papers. I wouldn't think it's that. If Donald J. Trump were really a king, there'd be a lot of federal judges in the dungeon right now. Oh, I know, right? Yeah, with all the you see those temporary restraining orders on him with all those court orders. Yeah, there's like over 200 on him right now. Yeah, that's right. No kings, they scream, but slaves and servants they all want to keep. Looks to me like they are the kings. Yep, that's what the libtards want. That's what Democrats want, right? They're looking for slaves, man. It's wild to burn cars and loot stores and then tell everybody else they're the problem. Yep. and culture was vindicated, and Joy Reid lost her show. Yep. As a Native American myself, Cherokee, you don't live on stolen land, you live on conquered land. And while the sins of our ancestors may be tragic, we aren't living in an age of conquerors anymore. We're living in an age where I need to find a decent paying job that doesn't treat me like garbage so I can afford to have children with my wife. Oh no, the realest guy ever. And you know who and what has consistently gotten in the way of that every possible opportunity? Democrats in the government. Just Democrats in government. Yep, they did it. I voted Donald J. Trump 3 times for a reason. Bonus round. I have a pale skin complexion owed to the Irish side of my family. We were mixed race family, outcast by both natives and British for being mixed. We married back into Cherokee blood, and a mere 2 generations back, we were full-blooded with my mother marrying once again back into the blood with my father. Basically, unless you are looking at a bone structure in my face, you can't tell how prevalent the DNA is, and because we were outcasted by the local natives for mingling with whites. We don't have a strong link to the heritage beyond our direct family members. Why does any of this matter? Because the same people claiming to hate racism so much and preaching about how skin color shouldn't matter have been more racist towards me for looking white than I have ever experienced from the right wing. In fact, Republicans, conservatives, have never once questioned it. But the moment you mentioned it to Democrats, liberals, they are immediate to cast doubt. Accuse me of lying and act like I'm faking something. I've only ever experienced this coming from one side. And this is the side that demands my loyalty at the same time, and assumes to speak for me and others. Just as a amusing story I wanted to share. Remember, you don't hate the government enough. They co-opted these mentalities until Trump got in. Damn. Yeah, he dropped the N-bomb. He dropped the N with the heavy R and the heavy N. Oh, nuclear. Christ is king. Anyways, there you have it. Meme the left. What do we got here? Awocalyptic. Oh, yeah.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine
what's going on
for
with her
Explain
now?
America. An Olympic star,
What you
Simone
got for
Biles,
us?
has made the news again, and not in a good way. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel
do that
continue to grow.
for me as well,
now, if
please.
you were paying
Thank you very
attention
much.
last week, you know that Olympic champion
We
Simone
will
Biles,
bring
who
you
many
the
refer to
news.
as literally the greatest gymnast of
We
all
will
time.
make fun of people.
And she probably is.
No one's free.
Last week, she got into
We
a battle
bring
with
the
Riley
nuclear.
Gaines over who should be allowed in women's sports. We're not going to get into that
Heavy
here.
N,
Everybody has
heavy
their
R.
opinion. I know I do. And mine aligns with all of human history until 15 minutes ago. But Simone Biles, she eventually apologized for the interaction with Riley Gaines. She was very mean. Very
Was it
cruel.
because she can't handle the truth?
And she apologized in what looked like something written by a PR firm, because she probably got a lot of backlash on it. But a new revelation has happened. Somebody who was with her on the Olympic team has come forward and said Simone Biles was an absolute horrible person and a bully, wiping away her clean, good American role model image, which I think took a hit when she came out so strong against President Donald Trump. I think sometimes athletes need to think about their brand and just stay quiet.
Yeah, I think some
because it
athletes
affects them financially
delve
when
into
they're
the
not quiet.
political world too
That
much
being
when
said,
they
apparently
shouldn't.
this is par for the course
They
for Simone
shouldn't.
Biles. She likes to push people around that are in a station beneath her. And that's what happened with this Olympic athlete, she claims.
Yeah, same with some entertainer influencers.
The
Sometimes they dip into
Olympic
the political
gymnast
world,
Michaela
and it's
Skinner
just like,
joins me now.
what are you doing?
Michaela, thank you so much for
What are you
being with
doing
us
with
here
your life?
today. I would love to ask you a little more about why you decided to post something. This seemed to be a fight between Riley and Simone on a much bigger and broader issue. But you put your statement out there, and I'm curious, what was the impetus?
Well, throughout my career, there's been many times where I have been belittled and bullied by Simone and have wanted to keep quiet for the other athletes. And there has been just many times through my Olympic journey and through camps, training, everything that we have gone through have been multiple times where she has come and belittled all of us, and I've wanted to stay silent through this because she has a huge
Yeah, I mean, you have
platform
what's her name,
to
Caitlin
have people
Clark.
speak up
Yeah, she's
and
getting
stand
like
by her side,
ragtagged and
and I have kept
gang-banged.
quiet to not make any
Wrong,
more
wrong choice of words.
disruptions through the athletes of college and through the Olympics.
But what changed now? You thought that Simone weighing in on the transgender athlete debate and going after Riley meant that now you should no longer stay quiet about your experiences?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I stand by Riley and for the amazing way that she is helping athletes to fight for women. Now that I have a daughter, it really helps me to want to stand by Riley's side because I want the future of women's gymnastics and women's sports in general to have fairness, and that she is able to speak up and stand for us to be able to have fairness in women's sports is amazing, and I am so grateful for it and for the future of my daughter and future women athletes.
Well, Michaela,
Oh, that's that's the bright pink for like in solidarity for women, right? Right, in favor for women or whatever. God, that thing burns my eyes. Jesus Christ, that's so bright.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America and Judge Jeanine Pirro, the new U.S. District Attorney, or U.S. Attorney, rather, for Washington, D.C. Well, she's just shaking the windows a little bit in the nation's capital, and it's got the Democrats all running.
Yeah, I mean, they were trying to
they were
trying to cancel her because she said some stuff about her.
Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to
Her
grow.
ex-husband and some
When you
stuff
are
that happened
draining the
between-
swamp, when
well,
you're
it's-
kicking over
that's not
rocks
my
to find the
problem.
roaches in Washington, D.C., as it were.
Not my problem.
You can expect that some of those roaches, some of those
All I know
swamp
is
creatures are
she's
gonna
a
fight back, and
pretty
they're going to use their
kind of
friends
straight shooter
in
judge,
the media to
or
do
tries
it.
to be at least.
That's what happened to U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro yesterday. K-File, which is a division of CNN, issued a report, and in this report, they had some damning evidence against Jeanine Pirro. Guess what it was? It was evidence that you're going to love to hear. It's evidence that I certainly love to hear. See, they have it on good authority because they have her public comments from Fox News when she was on Fox News.
Mm-hmm.
They're really scared because they said that she's going to look into prosecuting the people who abused the justice system to prosecute the January 6th protesters.
Oh,
Now,
she's
I
looking into the
firmly still believe
J6
some of those protesters should have stayed in jail. Some of them assaulted police officers. Some of them did horrible things, and they should have stayed in jail. But a lot of them were abused by these prosecutors.
Well, yeah.
That took minor infractions.
Well, I mean, they effectively just tried to do a blanket, right? Just put all those people in prison and then just leave them there. And then, right, they've been left there for like what, over 3 years, right? 3 to 5 years about. I mean, some of them did assault police officers, and they should have, right? They should have dealt more, right? They obviously should have dealt more with that, but for whatever reason, they didn't. I don't know. They just tried to like sweep that shit under the rug, trying to like pin Trump for that shit, as usual.
Trespassing charges and trumped them up to keep these people locked away like political prisoners. And now, K-File and CNN, they're doing a hit piece on Jeanine Pirro. Why are they doing it now? Well, they did a hit piece on Ed Martin right before he was going to get confirmed by the Senate, and they scared the Senate away from confirming him. And they want to do the same thing with Jeanine Pirro now. It's why they waited a few weeks to do this piece. They want it fresh in the senators' minds. What is Jeanine Pirro going to do? And they want to scare the weak Republicans into not voting for her. That's the bottom line here, guys. That is the bottom line here.
Yeah, I mean,
they don't want somebody from Team Trump like Ed Martin, like
yeah,
Jeanine Pirro.
they're
They don't
right.
want somebody
Trump
like
has been
that
getting a
on
lot
the
of
case.
wins,
They
so
don't
they're
want somebody
trying to
like that
do
looking
whatever
around.
they can
No.
to make Trump lose.
They want one of their lackeys, one of their swamp members, looking around and finding nothing. Jeanine Pirro is not going to play that game, and she's also not going to get scared of your little intimidation tactics. I want you guys to watch what they said here and let me know what you think in the comments.
Also tonight, a new K-File report shows that Jeanine Pirro had endorsed previously a threat to criminally investigate January 6 prosecutors in the office that she now runs. K-File found it digging through her radio show archives, but she's now, of course, the acting U.S. attorney for Washington, D.C. And if the president
CNN.
permanently nominates her for that role, she'll have to
As
provide
usual.
the Senate with a detailed disclosure of every media
what's it-
appearance
this
that
is,
she's ever
what's her
made,
face?
which, of course, is ultimately helped sink Ed Martin's nomination to the same role last month.
This is the bitch that always tries to cause shit with Trump. Like it says some of the dumbest, right? Tries to, right? So it says some of the dumbest things to try and get Trump to say, right? Things to trap him, I guess. Even though it's like, what? Why are you even saying those things? It don't even make sense. There you have it. Explain America. And then we'll take a look at Trump gets
No, I
to
haven't
keep
covered
using
the
the
LA
National Guard in LA.
No, I haven't covered the LA
Hell yeah.
protest yet because I'll be honest with you guys, I'm busy as I'm busy as all hell recently, right? And I haven't covered it, and I did want to wait a little bit longer to see what was going on. But basically, I've got an article now where I can cover it. However, the people that are out there protesting and hitting the cop cars, I mean, I'm not going to shed any tears over cops, right? However, the fact is they're all out there going, yeah, viva la Mexico, eh? Go back there then.
Yeah.
Go back there then. Stop making it Americans' problem.
Yeah.
You come to America, you speak American.
Oh, I wonder if he's gonna talk about what the fucking Mexico president said. It's like she's literally trying to stoke
you don't
the
sit there on a
flames.
motorway having a
You
little
dumb
hissy
bitch.
fit, right? Because people that aren't meant to be here are getting kicked out. I think here, I'm not in America, but yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think it's great. Oh yeah, forgot to read the article. Appeals court temporarily allows Trump to keep National Guard in LA. An appeals court has temporarily blocked a federal judge's order that directed the Trump administration to return control of California's National Guard troops back to the state. The appeals court's decision, I mean, if Gavin Newsom wants to kick off about it, is he caring about state rights? Oh no,
Yeah, the motherfucker doesn't care. He was just gonna allow California to burn down like he did with the fucking Palisades fires and shit.
Well. That was a tweet that backfired and nobody saw what I was
Right,
actually trying to
with
do.
the wildfires
The
and
appeals
shit
court
back
decision
then.
came
Yeah, he was
out
just gonna
after
let
a
it
federal
burn like
judge said
usual.
Trump's deployment of the troops to Los Angeles to quell immigration raids was illegal. Trump said he was sending the troops, who are typically under the governor's authority, to stop LA from burning down in protest against his immigration crackdown. California Governor Gavin Newsom and other local officials rejected the move, however, and said it was an unnecessary provocation. The appeals court said it would hold a hearing on Tuesday. I mean, Gavin, you weren't doing anything about it. And a
Yeah,
lot of
they
innocent
even
people
tried
were
to
being hurt, not
blame
only police
Trump
officers
that
here.
he was
Right,
right. He was
but a
gonna
lot of
cause
innocent people were
more
being hurt in
unrest
the
or some
process and
shit.
being attacked, and
It's
you
just
were
like,
doing
wait,
literally
how?
nothing about it. People were trying
How do
to
you
just get to
cause
work and
more
their cars were getting
unrest
bricked
by
and all
putting
that, right? You weren't doing
right
anything about it. You weren't
resources
protecting
in
native
the
Californians, so
problem places
the
and then
state,
taking
unfortunately,
care
not
of
the
those
state, the Fed in
problem
this case,
people?
had to come in and do it for you
Right?
because you weren't doing your job. At an
I don't
earlier
know.
federal court hearing,
I
Judge
don't
Charles
know.
Breyer said the question presented by California's request was whether Trump followed the law set by Congress on the deployment of a state's National Guard. He did not, the judge wrote in his decision. His actions were illegal. He must therefore return control of the California National Guard to the governor of the state of California forthwith. But the judge stayed the order until Friday afternoon to give the Trump administration time to appeal against it. The administration did so almost immediately after the order was issued. Newsom posted on social media on Thursday afternoon that the court just confirmed what we all know. The military belongs on the battlefield, not on our city streets. Then why are your city streets a battlefield currently, Newsom? But anyway, the Trump administration has said it took over California's National
Why
Guard.
do we
to
got
restore order and to
invaders
protect
from a
immigration
different
and customs
country
enforcement
trying
agents
to
as they swept
post up
people
their
in Los
flags in
Angeles
our
who were
country, huh?
believed to be in the country illegally? Despite Newsom's objections,
Yeah, I
Trump
said
ordered a total of
invaders.
4,000
Fuck you.
National Guard troops and 700 Marines to help quell the unrest. Some of the Guard troops are now authorized to detain people until police can arrest them. The president last deployed the National Guard without a
Deport
governor's
these
consent more
pieces
than
of
50 years
shit.
ago, during the civil rights era. That went great, didn't it? It is more common for a governor to activate troops to deal with natural disasters and other emergencies and then ask for federal assistance. Before a packed courtroom on Thursday, a Justice Department attorney told Judge Breyer that Newsom did not need to be consulted when Trump issued his order. Governor Newsom was fully aware of this order. He objected to it, Attorney Brett Shumate said. There is one Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Armed Forces. No, Judge Breyer, the younger brother of former Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer, responded. The President isn't the Commander-in-Chief of the National Guard, he said, but added there were times and situations where the President could become the head of the troops. Breyer, who had donned a light blue bow tie, invoked the Constitution multiple times during the hearing, holding up a booklet copy of the document at one
He's
Wow, now
right.
they
They're
care
trying to
about it.
invoke
Anyway, we're talking about the president exercising his authority.
right
and
the
president is, of course,
the
limited
California
in his
state
authority.
constitution.
So are judges,
Right.
by the way. But anyway, he said that's the difference between a constitutional government and King George. Ron, it's George. Before the judge's ruling, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth repeatedly refused to say if he would comply with Judge Breyer's order. What I can say is we should not have local judges determining foreign policy or national security policy for the country, Hegseth said, speaking at a House Armed Services Committee hearing on Thursday. Hegseth said he would comply with the Supreme Court ruling. The appeals court decision on late Thursday allows the National Guard troops to remain in Los Angeles as the case makes its way through the courts. The Trump administration used a law that allows the president to call the National Guard into federal service when a rebellion is happening. But California said in its lawsuit that the protests that have spanned nearly a week
rebellions
and
have
included more
been
than 300 arrests and the shutting down of a major freeway
in the
did not
past.
rise to that level.
What's wrong
At
with
no
calling
point
this
in the
one
past 3
one?
days has there been a rebellion or an insurrection, nor have these protests
Right, you
risen
got
to the
you
level
got
of protests
you got
or
people
riots
who
that
are
Los Angeles
unhappy
and other major
and
cities
who are
have seen at
attacking
points in the past, including in recent
literal
years, the
public
lawsuit said.
service,
Well, that's because
well,
like those
private,
riots in LA are
public
just, you know,
and private
part and parcel of living in a diverse
services
microcosm
that's
melting
supposed to
pot
protect
and all
right,
that, you know, with the LA riots and just they have just riots all the time. That's
the
just why do people
community,
still live
and
in
you're just attacking them for
Like,
some reason. I don't know.
I
It
visited
makes no
Texas.
sense.
Gorgeous, stunning place. If there was anywhere I could live, I would live in Texas. Maybe after a wee while, if I become acclimatized. I don't do well in heat. Shut the fuck up about the Denny's story in the comments. But anyway, basically, because Newsom was pure kicking off, going, the government is overstepping its mark, and I'm going to do a bunch of stuff against the government. Me, for a laugh, hoping to trigger the libs, right, posted a picture of Robert E. Lee going, this you? And underneath it, right, that I was trying to trigger the libs. What happened was, you motherfuckers didn't see it for the joke that it was, and all of you started going, never insult the memory of Robert E. Lee like that. Never insult and you all kicked off. Right? You should know me by now, and you should have known what I was doing. You ruined my joke. Right? I was hoping the Liberals were going to be fucking angry. Right? You all get angry instead. You fucked it up. Right, you should know me by now that 95% of what I say is not real. I'm trying to get a rise out of people. In this case, it was the Liberals. Instead, I got a rise out of all of you. Right? I understand that you like him. I know that. However, he's not someone that the Liberals would want their boy to be compared to. Right? I was aiming for them. Right? Okay, was it an accidental strafing run of friendly fire? Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Right? But you shouldn't have been standing there. Right, you ran into it.
Hey man, friendly fire happens all
But
the
anyway,
time.
the point is that as a governor, you at least have a bit of a duty of care as to the function of your state.
I hate
and
to
the
say it,
protection
but
of
friendly
your
fire
people.
happens
Gavin Newsom
fucking like
was not
50%
doing
of the
any of those things. He was like, oh, my favourite little soldiers
I
rioting.
mean, I don't want to say 50%.
Basically
It's
putting
like
bricks through granny's
20,
cars.
30%.
Oh, that's fine. Yay, liberalism and all this bullshit, right? That he wasn't basically doing his job. So what happened was Trump went, I'm going to activate the National Guard and they can do your fucking job for you. They can go in there and protect people and stop people having their businesses destroyed and stop people from being injured, right? Protests, I am fine with. I am fine with a protest. That is a right to freedom of speech. A brick through a grand's window is not freedom of speech.
Yeah, that's
right?
not.
It's attempted
Yeah,
murder, to be perfectly
people
honest,
breaking
right?
into a store and then
cannot,
stealing
free speech
shit
is free
in
speech,
right. That's
It
not
stops
free
when you start
speech.
damaging a
I
person's
hate to tell you.
property or a person. Right, and if the government isn't
Yeah,
doing
standing
anything
in
to
the
prevent
middle
those
of the
things, which I
road,
would argue if the
provoking
government is to
people, and
exist
then
at all, that should be
beating
its
on
most
their
basic
car.
function to protect
Yeah, that's not
person
free
and property.
speech. I'm
If
sorry.
they are not doing that job and someone else goes, all right, well, we're going to invoke the powers that we have and do it fucking for you, that's fine. I don't have a problem with Trump doing that. However, Gavin does, because he's like, wait, don't arrest them. They're like really, really useful for us.
Yeah, basically. I mean that's what Gavin's trying to do, right? He wants those people to vote for him, right? Fucking scumbag. Anyways, yeah, that's all we have for this segment. Like, subscribe for Count Dankula. Give a like, subscribe for me as well if you like the content. We'll keep looking at news pretty much 7 days a week, unless I have to take a day off. But yeah, thanks for watching.